Oh my goodness.
Are we supposed to do this?
What are you doing?
Back to back. I mean,
back to back. I get it. And we get to see that Dan doesn't pay attention when the intro is playing. So it's Monday night.
Was there another intro? Did you do something new?
I don't know. You'll have to watch next week. Brian noticed it all.
I was texting my wife about our dog.
Yeah, you see, you gotta watch carefully to know what's happening. But
apparently Katz was in the intro.
Huh? I have no idea. Adam paid attention. It's Monday night.
What's amazing is I actually have the power just to watch it again.
That's right. Would you like to watch it again?
Is this the AFF season 5 opener?
Yeah, that's the one.
All right, I'll be right back. We have to do this one more time, and then we'll bring people in. Sorry, I'm gonna I would say you're a sick puppy, but you're a sick kitty.
I might be. It's hard to say. It is Monday, and we're not talking about the movie Cats.
No, thank God.
A little something to remember everybody by that magical episode that was last. But tonight, it's TV night. It's in fact rerun. It's hard to say. Rerun. As you know, last Monday of the month, we talk about a TV show.
We do.
Tonight we will be talking about PSYCH, which ran, what network was this on? Was this on the CW?
USA Network.
Oh, was it USA?
What's funny is, as I'm watching the first episode, I'm like, well, this is like a knockoff of Monk. And then realized it was the show that came on right after Monk.
Oh,
you paired with Monk.
Well, that's
in 2006. It was the #1 new show on cable, on basic cable.
Well, I was new to PSYCH. I mean, I'd heard of it, but I had never watched it before this month. And I don't know if there's others in the same boat, but we should bring people in. If you're a fan, or maybe you're a hater of PSYCH, you can join us and talk about all the magic or the terribleness that is PSYCH. How would they do that, Dan?
All they have to do is to be a guest. Go to EriDanLive.com. Look at the ticker at the bottom of the screen.
Oh my goodness! It's
www. Which isn't necessary. EriDanLive or live.com, and they can join us and talk about the show
as they should.
We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X.
Are we on X?
You might be, but Twitter, typically,
I might.
Elon Musk is another stupid thing. This is he changed the name of Twitter to X, so we are now on X.
Well, it took long enough, but here we are.
Adam already mentioned that.
Well,
we're getting Twitter notification now.
So you leave some X's on X. And then you GX.
And that's Princess didn't watch the show, but wanted to say hello.
Hello, how about that? We don't have a holographic, but we need to work on that.
And then Dave says, because he's watching on Facebook, don't visit EriDanLove.com.
You might need to register that right away.
that's a mistake you only make twice.
Or, unless you
enjoy that site.
All right, we should bring some people in. These people are trying to come in and talk about this TV show. Shall we?
Bring them in.
I'm sorry, Dave. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
Dave.
I almost left after that intro, but
the intro was great. Much better than Cats. I'll watch it again and again.
Almost might have. It's hard to say. It's a beautiful thing.
I was going to bet $1,000 that Dave would have been Nigel.
I kept getting comments that I hadn't completed the intro for this season, and so I finally stepped up, and everybody just wants to complain.
I didn't ask you to step up.
Speaking of stepping up. Brian is here, and Brian was laughing hysterically.
I was laughing really hard. Great. It was wonderful.
I'm answering texts about antibiotics for my dog, and you guys are laughing at cats.
We're all having the best time ever.
I am, for sure.
We all should. Speaking of the best time ever. Someday we're going to get shut off for that intro, but we haven't yet. So it's Wade and Stacy.
Hello, and I think that your cat's intro was exactly probably what the movie should have been. It was very well cut together. That was beautiful. It made me want to go watch the movie.
It had the benefit of being silent.
If we ever
No
need
dialogue.
Adam, which we don't, but now we know how.
Wow.
He said he would boycott the show if that becomes the permanent intro.
He said May. So we'll find out.
He said seriously after
But
3 dots.
seriously, too, yeah.
Oh, seriously?
Speaking of seriously,
One ring to rule the moon. One ring.
It's Brittany.
Brittany's here.
Yes, I am.
Brittany is a psych major, if I'm correct on this.
Yes, I was. Actually, I went to school for psychology.
Oh, you actually were a psych
I
major.
think I was.
I was making a joke because you chose the show.
Oh, that's funny because I was like,
Oh, I thought you were.
how did you know that?
It's a thinker. That was a thinker right there.
That hurt my head.
Speaking of Amanda, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have that new great.
I was just saying that was a wonderful intro.
Amazing. What other
Sure.
might be in store? You never know.
I just realized
Brittany.
my prescription's weakening. I can't see it.
What's going on?
I didn't even remember that Dule Hill was on the new reboot of the Wonder Years until we were watching Celebrity Family Feud, and there he was.
That's,
Wow, that's all
quite a
random
rabbit hole
stuff.
right there.
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome. So, Brittany, you brought us Psych.
I did.
Why did you bring us Psych?
I love the show. I don't know. I don't even remember when I first started watching it. I don't think it was when it first came out. I remember seeing the promo clips and stuff on USA, like the commercials all the time. Because I grew up watching Law and Order SVU, which was also on USA. So I was on USA all the time at my neighbor's house. We would watch that show all summer long. Like that was, we'd go outside and play, and we'd come inside to warm up and eat lunch and watch that and go back out. And there was one commercial where Sean is reading the thing about the new episodes airing and what time and whatever. But because he's in the screen, he's reading it backwards. And then Gus yells at him for it. And I remember thinking that was the funniest thing ever when I was growing up. I just thought it was hilarious. And I don't know, I loved it, but I had never actually sat down and watched the show. And so I think I was actually probably in college when there was a rerun on, and I sat down to watch it. And I thought it was hilarious. I loved it. So then I found it when Peacock was still free, before they made you get a subscription, and I started just binging it.
Recently.
Yeah. And I started binging it on Peacock when it was free.
Yeah, isn't Universal or USA? Excuse me, isn't USA partially or totally owned by NBC? I think they were.
Yeah, I think USA is a Universal Comcast owned.
Yeah.
So this was, as I said, this was my first time watching Psych. Anybody else? First time, or is it now the writers?
It was my first time paying attention.
Yeah. Well, we're used to that with you, Dan.
Like, I think I saw it, but I never sat down to watch it. If that makes sense.
I was more of a fan of Monk. I in fact at some point watched every episode of Monk. I was sort of keeping track of which I'd seen and would seek out other episodes. And during the course that Margaret watched a fair amount of Psych, and I probably saw maybe 20 episodes over the years.
We had not seen it. We didn't have cable until the pandemic started. So we had it in the late 90s. Or is that right? God, no, the kids were here. So yeah, it was about the time this was probably on. But we
this
didn't.
Was on 06, I think, is when it debuted.
Yeah, we had cable from 07 to 09, and then we didn't have it again until 2020. So, and we don't even have real cable. So
real cable.
Real cable. We have Xfinity with apps. We have streaming apps.
No, okay. That counts. That counts. I was delighted. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect. I think I tried to watch it maybe one episode like 10 years ago, but it was like it was just on, and I caught like the middle of an episode, and I'm like, this isn't for me. But starting from the beginning, I think the pilot does an excellent job setting everything up.
Yeah.
We all talk.
Although I agree with the changes they made from the pilot. Having the two police partners be lovers are uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smart. You know, and it made Lassiter a great backstory, right? Like Lassiter is one of my favorite characters. I really enjoy the scenes with him.
Boy, you want to talk about a guy who plays sour the entire show.
My favorite episode was when they kept calling him names like Tony Randall and that I'm like, yes, that's him.
First you called him Mr. Bean.
Yes, thank you. I can remember
great episode.
That was good.
That was a really good episode with Nigel St. Nigel.
I feel like they just hit the ground running so quickly in the pilot, and that's hard. You know, it didn't feel like they were forcing the story and introducing you. Like, it didn't feel like, oh man, here we go with the exposition and make sure that we understand who's who and what their backstory is. It all just felt very naturally flowed. And so instantly at the first show, I was like, yeah, I want to watch more of that. Right.
It's rare that you have chemistry between two leads that establishes so quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say though, watching it binging the way we do, because we do that, is not a good idea. It gets repetitive and boring, and you start to see how it's laid out.
There's a formula.
There's definitely a formula. And
the Monkeys was the same way. The Monkeys is best sampled in small doses.
Right. The Wild Wild West, they were all those shows like that. But it was easier to skip into another season to see what was different.
Sure.
It was, and that was one of those things where you're like, you know, an episode list. I'm like, just to me, I don't know, pick one. Like you put one on and I'll watch it. But yes, I definitely agree that like
we never watched more than two at a sitting, so we didn't binge it at all.
We did a little, and what I like, I mentioned this to Dave before he went on, is what I love about it's low stakes. Right? There's not a lot of they spoon feed you all the clues, and when he's giving the feel of who the murderer is or who the victim is, who the bad guy is, they show again the things that he saw earlier. Right. So it is literally the kind of thing where you get like, yeah, I'm gonna macrame while I watch this.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. It does not require the full eyes on. And so it's great that way. Yeah. I mean, we only made it to the middle of season 2. But you know, to me, it reminds me a lot of shows that I used to enjoy on Sci-Fi, like Warehouse 13 or Eureka.
Yes. Well, funny enough, that was another one that I had never ever in my life seen Warehouse 13. And after the baby was born and she was in the NICU, we were spending a lot of time in the living room because I was still sleeping in a recliner. I couldn't sleep in bed yet. And we would just play the TV because I was just a train wreck. And so he was like, have you ever seen this show? Richard put it on. And so we started watching that, and that's on Peacock too. And so I would go back and forth between the two. So it definitely had similar. It does, because the other
one is super high budget. And I feel like what I liked about both of these shows is that what you like about these shows, you fall in love with the characters.
Yeah.
Actual storylines are fine, right? But are kind of irrelevant, right? Like it's fine. You know exactly pretty much how the episode arc is going to go.
Yeah, and for a show in the like crime scene investigation-y genre, the presence of humor throughout the entire each episode, like it's not like when we reach the climax, oh, everything gets really serious. It's like, no, they're still just like joking around when like the culprit is like pointing a gun at them. Like
the creator on one of the extras on the first season DVD was talking about the two shows that they mentioned multiple times that were his inspiration and the writer's inspirations were Moonlighting and Remington Steele.
Oh yeah,
mystery shows with comedy.
Yes,
and sort of buddy shows too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similarities, like I said, with Monk, because he was just overly observant. He had the uptight co-worker, the uptight boss, and then my mom, she loves the show The Mentalist.
Yes, I used to watch,
which was very similar to Psych.
Yeah,
very.
I've never seen either of those, so I had nothing to compare. Like I've never seen either of
The
those.
Mentalist. Think of a big budget version of Psych.
Not as much comedy.
Yes, not nearly as fun. Yeah.
Has some humor, but not. It's not meant
as much Corbin Burnson.
And I was going to say, Henry is a key part of the show, even though he is only in each episode for maybe 2 minutes or so, except for a few exceptions. His role in this of sort of giving Gus, Sean, a base of his grounding, and it works so well.
And I think that changed a little bit from the pilot too, where they sort of implied in the pilot that he might have been a real jerk, terrible father.
Yeah.
That clearly they finessed that a little bit as they go through the first season to be like, he was around a lot, and and you got more of his intent of what baby
he wasn't an absentee dad.
Yeah. In the first episode, he's a little harder and a little almost like, wow, he's kind of a jerk. And it's like, but then you're like, no, Sean was a little bit of a jerk.
Yeah, I like Corbin Burnson. It's funny when they put that wig on him. I'm like, why don't they do his hair like they did on LA Law? Come on, just one time.
But again, I think I said it the other week.
Although when was LA Law?
LA Law was before this.
The 80s.
No, but I'm saying when they go back to 1987.
That's about the right time, because that's 87 they keep sort of flashing back to.
It looks similar. They do a really nice job with it, but they don't comb it the way he did.
Yeah.
It's a little different. I'm like,
well, maybe that was deliberate. You don't want him to think it's the same.
But why?
And then Jimmy Smits makes an appearance.
Yep. Brilliant.
It would be brilliant.
Well, Adam did not get into it.
That's fair.
I will say the thing that I like about it, and this is probably, there's a lot of references to like the 80s and 90s through it, right? Which, a lot of course, you don't get that a lot. There'd be a lot of young people now who, might be 20 who won't get a lot of the references they're making.
Like Bud on the Cosby Show?
Yeah.
Bud.
I mean, there's a lot of content in there that I'm like, these are deep, like, deep references that it's like, oh yeah, nobody's getting that.
Well, it's sort of like, a movie like Airplane, where they just do a bunch of throwaway references that are so quick that if you don't get them, it doesn't interrupt the flow. But if you do get them, they're a lot of fun.
Sometimes I notice that there are a lot, and I'm like, wow, can we stop? Can we have some real dialogue here? Just referencing 80s TV.
Yeah, the creators I of course love that, but that's just me.
I did too. But sometimes it was really noticeable. A couple episodes, I'm like, dang.
He came up with this idea. He had a 5-show deal with some company, and he pitched them a bunch of ideas, and this was one of them, and they absolutely hated it. So he just sort of backburnered it, and then years later, the woman who was producer on the show, they came out. They decided to try to do a show together. And she said, "What ideas do you have?" He goes, "I only have one." And they loved it, but he said they shopped it around to everyone. They got positive reactions from everyone, but no one wanted to buy it because this type of show just wasn't in vogue at the time. And USA was sort of the last place they tried, and USA was great. We'll take it.
Wow. Yeah. Well, shopping a show can be really difficult.
Yeah.
Especially when everybody's on strike.
Yeah.
I was just reading that Viola Davis halted production on her movie, even though they got an exemption because she just didn't think it was right to continue working through the strike.
Yeah.
What exemption did they get?
If you're not affiliated with a major studio, you can get exemptions to continue to film.
Some of the lower, like A24, which is the studio that did Everything All at Once Everywhere, and Severance on Apple, they got a waiver for anything that's already in production, but because the writers are still on strike, they did not. If anything that's new is still on strike. So, but the connection I have with this show was Ron Erickson, who is one of our executive producers / investors of the sitcom. His best friend's son, follow me here. His best friend's son, his name is Josh Bicel, and he was for season 2 a supervising producer, and season 3 an executive producer of PSYCH.
Wow!
And he wrote a few of the episodes. I think he wrote 7 of the episodes.
I was just amazed that John Landis directed 3 episodes.
Yeah. But he went on and did.
Do you want one of these? Do you want one of these? This name drop is sponsored in part by Aglets. Oh yeah, baby. You know what I'm talking about. And you also get one of these. This reference to Dan's sitcom pilot is brought to you in part by the all-new Era sedan. With a car this hot, you know it's a lot.
A Lenny's plate. It has a Lenny's plate on it.
I love it.
A new one.
That was so good. That was so good.
Wow.
I like that.
You know, it's time. The EriDan, is starting to.
But during the strike, we're reaching out to people that we know, and they can watch it. So he's supposed to be watching the show soon.
Next year will be the Erebus.
EriVan, Era Sedan, Era Coupe.
You're getting all through midlife crisis because you got the EriVan when you had your kids. Now you've gone to a sedan, and then the next will be a convertible or a motorcycle.
The Era Caravan.
Eric Chopper.
Airplane. Airplane is very cute.
It could be one of those trikes that people ride around now.
Yeah, the airplane.
Got it.
That was good. Good job, Brittany. Good job.
Thanks. I'm quick.
Very nice.
Yeah, I don't think it was during the filming of this. I think it was after. But Lassiter, Timothy Omenson had like a crazy stroke. And it was like nuts. Like he wasn't able to act for a really long time and had to relearn how to do all of that stuff. It was like insane. It was the story was really cool. But I think it was after PSYCH was over that happened.
Interesting.
But now anytime I watch it and I see him in there, I'm just like, just the amount of work that he had to put in to be able to act again at that level was really cool.
And Tim Matheson directed 3 episodes.
Well, yeah, because he was on USA. He was on Burn Notice.
Timothy Busfield directed an episode.
Johnny Fever was in an episode in the 2nd season. Come on.
Oh, we
They
just
got everybody in there.
That's our tie-in with Spinal Tap.
Eric, are you guys going to keep watching it?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think I like the humor of it because I like I said, I grew up like watching Law and Order, so I've always liked the crime shows and stuff like that. But like the humor of this one, to me,
I will say, if you like this, I really do think you'd like Monk. They're different, but there's a lot of that feels the same. Of the feel of the show. Yeah,
I very much appreciate Sean's immaturity too. I think like that. Like I don't know, like just to be a kid at heart is probably not the way I should, but definitely the way I do live my life. And so I think I relate to him a lot. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I do enjoy his hyperactivity.
Yeah.
Free flow of thought. I like this sort of, I grew up a huge Sherlock Holmes fan, and now it's not exactly the same. And I wish they wouldn't quite spoon feed it quite so much.
Yeah, they definitely spoon feed it a lot.
But it's just easy, right? And it's just like, oh, you know what? I don't want to think about what I want to watch. I just want to throw something on, that would be super just light. and this is so light. So if I get home at 2 a.m. from DJing, but I don't want to go straight to bed, I'll throw one of these on. I don't have to think too much. Easy. I'm curious about because obviously it's all streaming on Amazon Prime. I noticed they list a musical. Where does that fit into the Psychiverse? Is that was that after all the seasons? Was that mid?
They also did 3 movies after the series ended.
Oh wow,
3 movies. Yeah. I think there's 1 in development.
Yeah, they're supposed to be making 3 more movies.
Oh wow,
that's
cool.
exciting.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen any of the movies, which I would like to watch them.
I don't know if those are on Amazon or not.
Yeah, I only saw the musical listed. So that's all I know.
I just looked up because Brittany said that about the guy Timothy Amundsen having a stroke, and I said, "Oh, I want to look at that up." And he was on This Is Us.
Who
was he?
He was the neighbor on This Is Us to
the neighbor, the stroke victim neighbor.
Yeah. The was he blind?
Yes.
He had a stroke.
No, he was wearing glasses, but he had a stroke.
Oh,
He had a stroke and he had to go walk every day.
He had to walk every day. So it was Kate's
So did he
neighbor.
have a stroke in real life just to get that part?
Yes, he did it.
Must
Just
have-
to do that.
Dedicated.
That is method. That is method.
That's real method.
Commitment.
Wow.
Well, and I laughed too because he was he was a main character in a big chunk of Supernatural, which I've been also binging, and so that was funny because I'm going, oh my gosh, wait, because I haven't seen this far into Supernatural, and now that I'm watching this, I know him, and he has a very serious role. It's a very dark part of Supernatural, and then this super comical,
right,
role that he plays in Psych, and it was just funny to watch.
Very cool.
The internet says watch Psych seasons 1 through 7, then the musical, then 8, and then all 3 movies.
Interesting.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
I think I stopped at season 5 when I was watching it back in the day.
I remember when the musical was on, but I haven't seen it since then, so I don't remember anything about it.
I've never seen it. I would really like to see that in the movies, but I haven't watched those yet because I was just trying to get through the whole show before I confused myself. I want to say stuff, but I know Eric hasn't seen that far, and if he's going to watch it, I don't want to drop spoilers.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the tricky part.
I can turn it all off. I can leave.
One of the things the creator was saying was that they loved writing the scenes in the episodes where Gus and Sean were just so excited because they'd figured something out, and they'd do their dance or jump up and down. He said, he very specifically wanted them to never lose their enthusiasm, never lose their excitement.
Mm-hmm. I think it's funny to watch Gus too, because sometimes he's totally on board, and then other times he's like, "Dude, what the heck are you doing? I had a job and a life, and
I actually have a job."
Yeah.
And he's
Gus is my
confusing
favorite.
too. He's really funny, and he's confusing too because he'll be going along being an idiot, and you're like, "What? What? I thought you were the straight man," and he's not. He's confusing.
Well, there's also a few mistakes I noticed because they filmed it in Canada, not in Santa Barbara. we were married in Santa Barbara, so I was like, well, that's not the courthouse. That's not that. That's not that.
The good, the bad, and the ugly is trying to make southern Spain look like the American West. So, what happens.
I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is
driving a car
really
that wasn't available for the United States. The Toyota Yaris station wagon was a Canadian-only model.
Well, in the early episodes, they're riding a Toyota Echo.
Well, the Echo, that's what I meant. The Echo, it's an Echo wagon.
Yeah.
Not available in the United States.
Yeah, the Yaris replaced the Echo.
I knew. I'm like, this is Canadian. This is Canadian. I know this is Canadian. Finally, I looked it up. After the Canadian episode.
I'm a psychic, eh?
After the Canadian episode, I'm like, first of all, I know no one except Dulé Hill.
No, sorry, again.
I knew nobody but Dulé Hill. And I'm like, who are these people? And the music, the soundtrack is really, really bad. It's like, I told Wade at one point, I said, this is like Disney Channel teeny bopper show. This music, from 30 years ago.
I feel like it fits. I feel like it fits so well.
It does, but it's so cheesy. I'm like, there's something wrong here. And it's on USA.
is a pineapple in every episode too.
Yes.
So if you have it,
Honestly.
like, there is a hidden pineapple that appears in at least one scene in every episode.
Yeah, we didn't catch that, did we?
No,
I remember
but
them
know there's
eating
some pineapples
pineapple
a lot on there.
and pineapple upside down cake, and
Oh, yeah.
I did kind of like the pineapple shirt that he wore to the racetrack, the horse track. I thought that was a nice shirt.
okay,
I'm like, I would totally wear that.
something to
Pineapple was like Les Nessman's Band-Aid in WKRP. Every episode, Les Nessman had a Band-Aid somewhere.
Yeah.
Because the actor cut his finger or cut his head or something before they shot the pilot. So he happened to be wearing a Band-Aid during the pilot. They said, well, let's keep going.
That's funny. That's pretty good.
And the theme song is actually done by the creator's band. He actually, when it was picked up, he said, how about we do the theme song? They were like, okay.
That's how we're going to get Don't Change My Style in our sitcom. So Error and the Vans.
That'll be for the musical episode.
Yeah.
This reference to Dan's sitcom pilot is brought to you in part by the all-new Era sedan. With a car this hot, you know it's a lot.
I heart
Adam. Oh, I like the cat.
Howard the Duck, who's that girl?
All the
cats are all inside. Yeah. All of our
and then Lenny's was on the front license plate. That's funny.
I heart Adam across the front top of the windshield.
There it is. There, if you want to close.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
What is the crest on the front there? Is that?
Oh, FU
That's
University.
the wheel. Oh,
Yes.
no, I see it. Okay, yeah, it's the.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
so we're not going to mention the fact that we're now having a reference to Dan's sitcom snaps.
Within
I like the image in the back window there.
That's how meta it is. That there's a reference to a sitcom.
I like to use it's a Mercedes EQS sedan, all electric. You hit it very well.
Oh yeah, no, we spared no expense.
No, it's a very nice high-end car.
You had no expense, so you spared no expense.
If you're gonna go with a sedan.
To Adam's point, I will say that the one thing that's different about Monk is Tony Shalhoub really does have to carry the show.
Yes.
Because you don't have both Sean and Gus to sort of play off against each other. They have minor characters, they have side characters, and in fact the police chief is played by the guy who was Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. But it's Shalhoub really has to carry it. And he's capable of doing so, which is what makes it work.
I didn't know that's who he was because I hardly that movie was terribly scary for me. So,
well, he looks very, very different. And the mustache, he's one of these people that growing a mustache made him look completely different. It's weird. It's almost like, Clark Kent with his glasses.
Oh.
Or Dan with his mustache.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Completely different person.
Dan looks like a completely different person without his hat.
We watched 7 episodes. We watched season 1 through 5, and then we watched the last episode of season 1 and the first episode of season 2. And I think my favorite was the American duels,
yeah,
with Tim Curry, which is the first sort of semi-star that I was actually making a guest appearance.
Oh, George Takei.
In which episode? Wasn't one I saw.
Oh no, George Takei is in the one they go to
later.
A comic convention. It's my favorite. It's in the first.
Oh,
it's really good.
It's such a good episode.
So I
am your assistant.
That's so good.
Okay.
Here, I had pulled this little fact up too that I'll put in the chat about that specific episode, but that episode was based on the actors that play Sean and Gus just goofing off on the set. Like they were just totally messing around. That episode was not in anybody's brains at all, but then because of them doing silly impressions, they decided to write that episode.
Oh, no way. Yeah, I do enjoy the Tears for Fear Michael Jackson mashup at the end of the American Duos episode.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shamar.
Shamar
was awful.
That was just amazing. I was so excited. All right. So
and when Nigel has to put him through the pain on his face.
It was so good. It was fun to see him in this. That was fun. Well, so since a lot of you have seen this already, I won't ask if you're going to continue watching, but would you recommend PSYCH to a friend? I think Adam has pretty made it clear that he would not. Brittany,
I
obviously,
wasn't sure if Adam hated it or just was boring to him, because he said it wasn't for him, which isn't a lot of detail.
Yeah. So let's go round robin. Would you recommend PSYCH? Brittany, I'm assuming yes.
Yes.
Yes, Dave?
Is.
Yes, I would, assuming that that's a kind of show that you like. Because, again, it's not for everybody.
True. And?
Yes, it's one of those shows, like you said, you can kind of jump in anywhere. You can kind of watch it. You can enjoy it. Each episode's kind of encapsulated its own little mystery, like a Law and Order.
Yeah.
Yet there is some ongoing storylines as well. So, yeah, I would recommend it.
Stacy?
Yeah, I would.
Wade?
Yeah, I would too. Like Dan said, you could jump in anywhere in there probably and still know what's going on and everything. So it was good for that, and it was pretty funny.
Brian?
I don't particularly like crime shows very much, but I did watch this one, like I said, up until the 5th season. Not this month, back when it was on air, after Monk and everything like that. So I guess I would, sure.
Amanda.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really fun show.
There you go. Very nice. Well,
now we pick
88.89 of us would represent.
That's a solid score.
Yeah, I think that's a very solid score. I think that's good.
So are we changing the way we're going to start scoring things? Is that what you're saying?
We're not scoring TV shows. Just an overall. Would you recommend it?
It's a Siskel and Ebert thing. Yeah.
I like that addition.
Yeah,
so 89% of us would recommend PSYCH. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
7 out of 8 reviewers would recommend PSYCH to their patients who watch TV.
I'm not gonna, we're not gonna rate those against each other for other TV shows, but I think it's just interesting to know that overall, the EriDan Film Festival would recommend. It's a recommend from the EFF. All right, so now
it gets the EriDan seal of approval.
That's right, almost all the way up. All right, well, I guess we get to spin. I think I've got everybody that's here and that's made a comment in the comments. So obviously we're gonna spin the wheel unless you don't want to help choose a TV show for next month. And then hopefully you have something in mind, maybe, or you can take a few minutes to go search what's available online. Make sure your name's on this list. I might have done this.
I checked if my mom wants to be on the wheel. She is.
We're resetting.
Is she that? We reset with Brittany.
Okay.
Because that was Brittany's second show that she's given us.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we had reset for Brittany, and so that's why Brittany's not on here.
Yep.
Dan, is your mother around?
She was. She made a comment. She texted me during the show because she watches it on YouTube on her TV. So she's.
Yes, that's how I would watch it as well.
Yes, so I'm waiting for her to text back to say if she wants to be on the wheel. But
right. We'll give
no thanks. That's okay. So she doesn't have to be on the wheel.
What?
No mother on the wheel.
No mother on the wheel.
You can remove her from the wheel.
All right, we're spinning, we're shuffling, and we're spinning, and we're gonna see who gets to choose. We get no sound tonight.
Neat. What could it be?
You know what? I don't know if Hogan's Hero is available anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know if it is either.
Yeah, so
It was on UTV forever.
Right.
But
I'm gonna need
the Munsters, however.
What's that?
The Munsters, however.
All right. So, we'll give Dan a couple of minutes, and we can talk about what else you've been watching. But don't look away for just a moment.
Oh my God! I had to do a Kramer entrance.
My homies!
Wow.
Oh my God. That was so cute.
Oh my God.
That was great. And I remember seeing it.
That hair.
Right? Your hair.
Dave is in shock.
That was
Wow.
amazing. I feel like
we
I
see
was
that
there
one
because I
more
probably was.
One more.
All right, one more time. Here we go.
to do a Kramer entrance.
It's the reaction shot that makes it.
Eric does a David Letterman response.
I did a Letterman. That huge iconic poster behind the door.
That was great.
That was so good. I love it. That was fun.
I'm wearing my authentic. That was from Merry-Go-Round. That sweatshirt, if I'm not mistaken.
I was gonna say, it's so good.
And
So,
also, the back of your door did it not have the signatures at that point yet?
It was on the back of the door. Yeah, it wasn't behind the door. It was on the door. So yeah. But yeah. So all right. I'm just saying there might be more in future weeks, so you might want to pay attention during
That
this.
made me happy.
So we went and saw the Barbie movie.
That's on our short list.
Wow, probably the best movie I've seen in 3 years. It's such a great movie.
Is that good?
If we were rating the Barbie movie tonight, it would be a 100 from Eric.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm just saying, if you went and saw Oppenheimer instead, you missed out.
But you haven't seen Oppenheimer. How do you know?
I'm just saying. You know,
Josh and I went to Oppenheimer. It was
in the first 3 hours.
Wow. Emma's there watching it right now.
Yeah, but see, this sort of
is going to have multiple Academy Awards and definitely multiple nominations.
The trouble with that is this sort of blows away the narrative that some of the movie studios have been trying to sell, which is, oh, customer tastes have changed. People aren't willing to come back to the movies. It's that era has passed. That's why, you know, Elemental didn't do very well. That's why such and such didn't. No, that's not it. It's just people didn't want to see your movie.
No,
right.
Your non-original, a third iteration of the exact same storyline.
Mm-hmm.
No more prequels, no more sequels. Original content rules.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they both came out the same week.
Too.
That one's gonna be a bomb.
Wow.
I've got so many shows I want to watch. I'm really torn here. I wanted to WKRP, but it's only available to purchase.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're not gonna find that streaming anywhere.
And I assume people heard that Paul Rubens died. Too.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pee-wee died today.
Pee-wee is gone.
He was 70, and as my booby would say, such a young man.
And he'd been fighting cancer apparently for quite some time.
6 years.
Years.
Wow.
I still remember when he would periodically on To Tell the Truth on the Anthony Edwards hosted version of To Tell the Truth. He would appear in disguise when they would have ones where people, and one of them would be Paul Rubens as sort of like an Easter egg just to surprise the celebrities when he would then unmask at the end. He did that several times.
Wow.
Interesting.
Adam says, I started to watch Barbie, not at the theater, because I had a feeling I wouldn't like it. Sure enough, 15 minutes in, he turned it off.
Well, no, he started to watch Barbie as in the doll. He was just sitting there.
They're very compelling dolls.
At his personal collection of vintage 1960s.
They did have an article on CNN about unsuccessful Barbie dolls or Barbie affiliated dolls over the years, including they had one, I'd forgotten about this one. They had one back, I think it was the 90s, Growing Up Skipper, because Skipper was Barbie's best friend.
Mm-hmm. She's her sister.
There was one where you turned her arm and she grew taller and her chest pushed out. Somehow that didn't do well.
All right, I've got the show.
Uh-oh, you got the show.
I've got the show.
Oh, boy.
It's available on Pluto for free. Also on Roku, Crackle, Amazon Prime.
Oh, good.
It's quite available.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
And you can even just watch it. It looks like
The show
on YouTube.
available?
It's the NBC Nightly News, ironically.
Days of Our Lives. No. Because I could not do WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to instead do the newer version of it called News Radio.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
It's the great Phil Hartman.
Oh.
Great Phil Hartman.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Dave Foley.
Jimmy James.
Joe Rogan when he was funny. Dave Foley, of course.
Andy
Foley
Dick.
is
How can
great.
you go
Andy
wrong?
Dick when he was funny.
I did not know that was streaming right now. That's very exciting.
It's everywhere.
Wow.
Well, okay, I will say last said this stuff was not streaming. It wasn't streaming. It was available on Amazon Prime if you bought another streaming service through them.
Well, this one's on Pluto, which is always free.
All right.
Oh, I know
And
this one.
Roku and Crackle, so it's available with commercials.
Okay.
Amazon is probably only if you do subscribe, or it's on Freevee.
Okay.
Oh no,
It's
included with
probably
Prime. It says.
Oh,
Okay.
Maybe if it's freebie, then that maybe with commercials.
Oh,
But
how
yeah.
have we not seen that?
Because we don't search for stuff.
I've been searching for stuff. I haven't seen it.
We can never find anything. A jillion streaming things, and we can't find anything to watch.
That's what makes the Wade and Stacy show work is the banter between them.
I'm so excited about Man, this is an excellent choice. 1995. This was the year I got married.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yep. That's great.
Was this on the same time as like Murphy Brown?
No, this
No,
was
after.
later.
After.
After?
I think Murphy might have. When did Murphy go off? Because
I don't remember.
They may have overlapped.
I may have overlapped a little bit. This was on NBC.
Yeah.
I think it might have been part of Must See TV for a little while.
I
Might have
think
been
it was.
Thursdays. I think it might have been a Tuesday show.
It's a show I really only watched a handful of episodes of for whatever reason.
It's
Really?
it's one of those shows that we're like, oh, it's time for this show to be on. Let's go sit down and watch it.
And I love Phil Hartman, so I'm surprised I didn't watch more of it, but I didn't.
Stephen Root.
Yep.
Stephen Root. I will call him Jimmy James forever.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember his name until you say it out loud.
He's an absolute chameleon actor who just
Yes.
amazingly disappears into roles really well.
Man in the High Castle, and the guy with the red stapler.
Yeah.
The guy.
Yep.
All the same guy.
Yep.
Guy with the
So the show is on.
I'm filming it.
Okay, but I'm going to have to choose Hogan's Heroes next week.
I'm assuming you're just having people start watching from the beginning and get as far as
Just watch from the pilot is amazing. It sets up so well.
You should always watch the pilot. Yeah,
I think that's.
It's such an interesting way that they set it up.
That's awesome.
Third Rock.
I'm remembering an episode about coffee. I don't know.
That
Was
is
there-
about right. Yeah, Third Rock was around the same time. Because Hartman actually crossed over. Hartman had a small role on Third Rock. And they had left. He ended a season with a cliffhanger involving him, and then he passed away, and they had to rework it.
They did 97 episodes over 5 seasons.
5 seasons. That used to be the golden spot. That was,
You can watch
that
them
was when
all.
you became syndicatable.
And this show was syndicated.
Yep.
You have until August 28th.
That's my birthday.
Oh my!
Hey, perfect.
Wait a minute. I might be having a party that night. We might have to do it the day before.
Yeah, we'll see if we have to move that around, but ish.
Do some event scheduling.
Ish.
That's good. I get to do my show on my birthday. That's exciting.
Want to? Yeah, absolutely.
August 27th is Pee Wee Herman's birthday. He would have been 71.
Wow. Way to break the work down.
Right.
Next week, you get to watch, we get to discuss Raid 2 and the good, the bad, and the ugly response choices. This will be very exciting. I was debating about whether I was going to wait till next week or share that this week. I'm going to share it this week. I've been some digging on the internet and I found some exclusive unreleased footage from the good and bad and the ugly.
No.
Oh boy. Oh god.
I don't.
Oh god.
Wait, this
Nervous, eh? Played your yellow-livered card. So Kincaid paid a hired killer to come and get me.
That's right, Slade. I paid him $500 for your life.
$500, huh? Well, I've only got 3 words for you, Black Bart.
Yeah, what are they?
$600.
Kincaid, you're a yellow-livered card.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, that was
Which
great.
one was the ugly?
It's 3 hours of that.
Well,
Actually, that was not as
Only
much
hope.
dialogue as is in the whole movie. So,
right?
If you haven't had the pleasure yet of watching the trailer for the good and the bad, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Because it starts with all these close-ups, the good,
They're my car and carried me halfway across
the bad, the ugly, the good, the bad, the ugly, the horse, the saloon, the hack. They just start listing all these things. What are you talking about?
That's amazing.
And it goes on for 3 hours. No, it goes on for like 2 minutes, where it's just like this random list. The lamp, the back of the couch. I'm like, what are you doing?
Good night, light and the red balloon. Good night, bears, and good night, chairs.
So yeah, if you get a chance, I would highly recommend the trailer, at least for the good and the bad and the ugly.
That's next Monday.
That is next Monday.
That's crazy.
Adam's already quoted for next week. Definitely not one of the great action movies of the 2000s that Scott has claimed.
I believe he said one of the great Asian action movies of the 2000s.
Yeah.
That happens to be 2 hours and 36 minutes long. And was directed by this particular person. There are quite a few asterisks on it.
Very specific.
Watch Raid 2, but I'm going to save my comments for next week.
We did watch about 5 minutes of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in Italian.
Oh.
Well, that's fun.
Did you notice
Amanda understood most of it. I didn't understand any other than the occasional Jackson mumble.
We had to fast forward through the first 10 minutes.
Bueno,
There was no dialogue in the first like 10 minutes.
Incidentally, I did watch Raid 2 with subtitles. So I did not watch the English dub.
I prefer subtitles for most movies. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say they did a good job on the subtitles. That was my favorite part of the movie.
That's funny. Okay.
Quality is the subtitles. We're near the person who was speaking. I needed that.
What a dunk!
What?
Richard.
Oh, sorry.
It's a very emotional game.
Sounds exciting.
Oh man, I need a soundbite of that.
Right? That's how it is at our house too. All of a sudden we hear Kent going off saying,
Well, it's great that you guys hear it because I've totally tuned him out while we're talking. Like I just shut him out, and so
yeah.
Oh, but just while we're talking, the rest of the time you're very attentive.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh man.
Goodness.
That's too much.
Yes.
Oh, who posted the oh, this is awesome. The there's an American Duos t-shirt available.
Yes.
Oh no.
yeah, I sent a link for that t-shirt, and then I sent 2 YouTube links. There's one that's like 4.5 minutes of all of the things that he says, Gus, don't be a whatever, and then the other one is all of his nicknames, because all of that was basically improv. So they just have these big compilations of it.
It was just I think I loved about the American Duos one was just the incredibly dismissive attitude. Yeah, Gina Gershon is just the over-the-top, over-medicated female judge. You had the guy who was never given a chance to speak, who I immediately pegged as the killer at the beginning. and
I think
and
I'm
Tim Curry
Menudo.
playing
I
the
think I'm
jerk,
Ricky
you know,
Martin.
it was-
I do like the 9 Lives one too. I know somebody in the chat mentioned that one, but like that one's a good one.
Well, that one that was another one that the creator commented on, or it was one in the writer's room saying that they came up with a joke about him, having a cat and speaking through the cat. And then people said, that's a great idea. You should do an episode around that. And he realized, now I've got to fill out 15 minutes with this one gag. How do I make this work?
Yeah.
It's called writing.
Yeah.
There's so much more that I could totally say. We have to have another conversation when Eric finishes it, because
yeah, I appreciate the non-spoiler discussion, because it is.
Well, the idea is you've clearly indicated you plan to continue watching. So that makes it easy to avoid spoilers.
I will watch this, and it won't be like
I will watch it as well.
Yeah, it will be a relatively short time before we actually finish the whole, within reason.
Yeah.
I don't know about 16 or 17 episodes a month like we did this month, but
and you do get the idea that it's not quite as dangerous a place as Cabot Cove. When Jessica's around on Murder, She Wrote, somebody's going to die. There are episodes of Psych where nobody dies.
Yes.
It's funny. My mom suggested Murder, She Wrote.
Yes.
As a potential show.
Yep.
But I went with News Radio.
I think News Radio was solid.
I think it was a good choice.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Good to have a comedy. Yep.
We've been watching The Chosen.
Oh, how do you
Yeah.
like The Chosen?
It's pretty good. I read historic fiction and get annoyed when they take big liberties with real people.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
Exactly. So I'm still I argue with a few things, but this guy just finished his MDiv, so I defer to him.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
That's awesome.
We did watch the first episode of season 2 of Good Omens.
It's great. It's back.
It's back.
Jennifer's I love that show.
If it's only 6 episodes. If the first episode is any indication, season 2 looks to be as much fun as season 1.
Is it? Did they binge it, or is it one a week?
They dropped them all, as far as I know.
Good.
But we only watched the first episode so far. We also watched the first episode of season 2 of Schmigadoon.
Yeah, nice. I need to get back into that.
But going back to Oppenheimer for a minute, a friend of mine I ran into today, he said he and a buddy flew down to Sacramento to watch Oppenheimer on a 70 millimeter cut.
Wow.
Because it wasn't playing around here.
Wow.
Because there's only 12 theaters that played it, because it was shot in IMAX, basically.
Right.
And we went to a bigger theater than we normally do to see it. It is really good. I do recommend it highly. Robert Downey Jr. is going to win an Oscar.
Oh.
He's so freaking good. And the guy that's the lead character, I forgot the actor's name, but he's Irish, but he's using an American accent.
He looks so much like Oppenheimer. Man.
Yeah, he looks just like him. I'm going to say this to you because I heard it and then I couldn't unhear it. It sounds like he's doing a Robin Williams impression for his American accent.
Oh.
When you hear him speak, it'll be like, oh, the bomb. Yeah. It's going to go off. It's like the serious Robin Williams.
Did Robert ever say nanu?
No. Shazbot.
That explains a lot, though.
But it is really, really
It's
good.
the Fisher King Robin Williams.
Hello.
But I guess,
Not Mrs. Doubtfire.
It's Mrs. Oppenheimer.
Mrs. Doubtheimer. Yes, it's Mrs. Doubtheimer. Here we go.
There is something you learn something in movies sometimes, and somebody talks about he wants to get the Nobel Prize, and they go, "You get the Nobel Prize for a bomb?" And he's like, "Cillian Murphy, that's his name."
Yeah,
and he goes, "Yeah, Nobel was famous for inventing dynamite."
Yes. Yeah. Well, and you don't get the prize for inventing a bomb. You get the prize for the physics behind what led to the bomb.
Right.
And in fact, it's interesting because I was reading more about him recently. If he had still been alive into the 70s, he probably would have won the Nobel Prize for work he did in the 30s, because he published a paper with a co-author, a grad student, that basically was the first description of black holes. But it was completely ignored and wasn't really resurrected until the 60s. So he was 30 years ahead of his time in that area.
Wow.
And the atomic bomb has only been dropped twice in war.
But the atomic dog gets dropped every weekend when I'm DJing. No, I'm sorry.
Are you forgetting the episode of 24 over Las Vegas, Dan?
Oh,
yeah.
Not the one where his daughter gets kidnapped. No, I'm sorry, good.
Yes, it is.
TV shows and things that have happened in real life. Did anybody see the meme of Mitch McConnell like spacing out and somebody
He froze? Yeah,
he froze and somebody put a picture of what's his name from Quantum Leap and they have him saying, "Oh boy."
I try not to make fun of
at that moment.
I try not to make fun of people having physical issues, but
Right.
yeah.
But that would be funny if that was what was happening.
Well, and then Feinstein had an issue in the House where she was confused and didn't realize she had to vote, and just she had an assistant beside her constantly prompting her, saying, "No, you have to vote now. You vote yay. You have to vote," and she was just completely confused. It was sad.
Yeah, I think it does get to a point where you got to call it.
Yeah, Strom Thurmond, back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So going back to Oppenheimer, I kept thinking the law firm on that Seinfeld episode when he couldn't figure out. He memorized the law firm she worked at.
Right.
And I just looked up. It was Sagman, Bennett, Robbins, Oppenheim, and Taft. I always thought it was Oppenheimer Taft. Oppenheimer.
And remember, Dan, there's no fee unless we get money for you.
Is that the Oppenheimer Fund?
No, that's Edgar Snyder, the local Pittsburgh.
Oh, Edgar Snyder.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'll go hero. He needs to retire too.
The bad ads, Edgar Snyder does ads sometimes where he's talking about how, they'll represent bikers that were injured in accidents because, you just don't get proper respect just because you're riding a bike. And he's wearing this leather jacket that looks like he literally just went into the old man leather jacket store and it, puts it on and he looks so stiff.
It looks like he was dressed at Madame Tussauds.
Yeah.
Snyder, they're called Snyder's Riders.
Oh, yes, Snyder's Riders. And you get the idea that maybe someone at his law firm is a biker, but it ain't him.
He is a rider. He actually does.
He's a Snyder rider.
Because he looks so stiff.
Exactly. Snyder's Riders.
Snyder's Riders.
That's us.
Or Riders.
We should do a law firm commercial. Have you been driving and you hit a donkey? We represent you or the donkey, whoever has more money.
Or it'd be like those Subaru commercials that are promoting how safe they are. But thankfully, I was driving the EriDan and I walked away unscathed.
Much better than cats. I'll drive it again and again.
Again and again.
Nice.
All right.
Since it's an electric car, I was driving my mom's Prius for a while, going down the woods road, and this squirrel would not get out of the road in front of me because it's like an electric road.
It couldn't hear him coming.
Yeah, I have that problem right now. My external speakers in my car aren't working. They keep malfunctioning. My car is very quiet right now.
Yeah.
And I get joggers, and I'm like, I have to tap my horn sometimes because they're like.
That's why you just should blast some, blast some rap and keep your windows down.
Yeah, crank up the Springfield.
They're Death Race 2000 cars, right? That'll be the movie I'll pick.
Or the Road Warrior.
We get Rick Springfield.
I don't know. Does anybody know him?
No, I don't know.
Let me play this real quick. So,
Days of Your Lives.
He has a new album out.
Is that the one Dan was talking about?
Yeah.
And he did a Q&A in LA for the 110th anniversary of this building. It was for Los Angeles Magazine. This was back last Monday. You ready for this? This is the second question in the Q&A.
What's that? When does your new sitcom come out?
Sitcom. There you go.
What was his answer?
His answers suck because he doesn't talk about it.
He doesn't remember it?
I know. I'm still waiting for my agent, William Morris, to wake up from his drug infused sleep.
He just jokes it off.
Yeah. Mine's not so much a question, but
there you go.
So he just jokes it off. Yeah.
And then later he says, I think my agent, William Morris, is dead.
Wow.
It was seriously super entertaining to watch him as Lucifer on Supernatural because the whole time all I could think about was you guys. Like I couldn't focus on what I was watching because I was like, oh well, he's in this other, like
he is the devil.
You have ruined me.
Well, remember the episode of Kids in the Hall where the guy had the guitar off with the devil? All right. So he pulls out the holy trinity of rock. Don't. And they're just having this back and forth rock battle. It's a really good episode. Who was that? Was that Bruce McCullough? I think it was doing that. Yeah.
We watched the live action Little Mermaid.
Oh, we haven't.
Oh yeah.
Honestly,
is that streaming now? I heard that was streaming.
It is.
It did not do well in box office. Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's worth watching. I will say for the first probably third of it, we were pretty bored. But there's a turning point where all of a sudden it's like, ooh,
so it's better than Aladdin.
It's 100 times better than Aladdin.
Don't do that because I liked Aladdin, but I don't know. Flounder looks a little.
I found Aladdin almost unwatchable. It was not good.
Yeah. To me, that looked like High School Musical, the Aladdin edition. Like, I enjoy Aladdin. It just felt
Maybe that's why we liked it.
Very cheap for some reason to me.
We were very firmly ensconced in High School Musicals at that point, so maybe that's why we liked it.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, but the Little Mermaid, I said, there's a turning point, where it's like, oh, this actually it got really good, especially once they left the ocean. I'll just say that.
See, well, I find that to be true with a lot of Disney movies because they're for little kids most
Disney's
of the time.
all over the map with their live action adaptations. I mean, you get some really good ones like Cinderella. You get some that are sort of in the middle, like Beauty and the Beast, and you get some that are just bad, like The Jungle Book. That just you go, oh
There's
no.
some where they definitely decide to play with the story a little bit.
Well, Pete's Dragon isn't even the same story.
No, and Cinderella, they added a lot to Cinderella to make that a more interesting movie. You get like The Lion King, which is such a faithful adaptation.
Oh, it's like a shot-for-shot remake almost.
Yeah. It's Little Mermaid is a little like that for the first, 30 minutes, where it feels very much like, all right, I'm seeing just a live action, but then it does get to a point where they start making it a little more interesting.
Okay.
So I think it's worth watching. We had a good time. That's the first half an hour. We're kind of like, it's like, all right, let's stick with it. And finally, it's like, okay, I'm invested. I'm in.
Okay.
And the lead is fantastic. Like her voice.
Yeah.
So great.
I've seen her in some things, so
it's amazing performances. So
that's good.
Relatively highly recommend. See Barbie first. Definitely Barbie first. But yeah. Well, anybody have anything else they'd like to?
One final thing.
Oh yeah.
I think I mentioned my son Josh and I are going on a mystery trip.
That's right.
I may or may not have said where we're going, but if I did say, act like you don't know, because we're probably going to do little weird updates as we do the trip. And we're going to a town neither of us have ever been to, and there's really no reason to go to, but we're going to go there anyway and find out something exciting about it.
Awesome.
Is that your plan, or is that really what's going to happen?
That's really what's going to happen.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we can find something exciting anywhere. I mean, if they have a wing stop, we'll be fine.
Oh, true. That's exciting.
So Monday I will be doing the show from a hotel in that town.
Oh,
and there will be no Clutch Radio on Saturday.
This coming week, or when is
this
that?
Saturday we'll be flying, so there'll be no Clutch Radio. The following Saturday is probably the last Clutch Radio with Rafi in town because he's going to head back to California to teach. He's a professor down there, so we may slow down Clutch Radio for a little while. We might make it a monthly show.
What does he teach?
Industrial design at California College of Arts.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Adam is trying to guess East Coast or West. It's not a guessing game, Adam. This isn't like it's not like the '94 Yukon last Saturday.
He's going to come down to it. Yeah. You've been given all the hints you're going to be given for now.
Population greater than or less than 1 million?
Yes.
Yeah.
Adam said East Coast. Adam said, what am I going to do my Saturday mornings? Well, we're going to do reruns.
Watch cartoons.
Yeah.
Watch cats.
Oh.
Yeah, furball.
Eric, do you remember the furball joke we used to do?
Nope. Not at all.
Fur turds, we called them. Because they don't come out as balls. They look like turds.
That is correct.
And it sounded like a French just said, for turd. Would you like it for turd? Would you like to say croissant on your for turd?
And it's
amazing. My brain works. Old jokes pop in my head.
Don't give away all the great jokes you're going to incorporate into future episodes of your sitcom, Dan.
Exactly.
For turd. So let's all pray for the strike to end.
Yes. Oh.
I have the feeling it's not going to end soon, unfortunately.
I know. I don't think it is either because the studios
They're probably going until like October or more.
I think it could go almost pretty much to the end of the year. The
said
studios are really entrenched, and they, unlike the actors, the studios have some things in the pipeline to buy themselves some months. They're already accelerating some of the. They're doing some shows from their streaming services and moving them over to their networks. They're moving ahead some of the schedules of some of the reality shows that they already had. Big Brother started. The Amazing Race is about to start. They have their arsenal. They can tread water for a while, and I think they're going to try to.
But then there's going to be a big emptiness.
Oh, there is, no question. But that's for later.
Yeah, kick the can down the road.
Yep.
I think it's just really awful that they like talk about starving them out and stuff like that. It's not cool.
Yeah, Iger really put his foot in his mouth. It was not good.
Dwayne Johnson, The Rock just put they said 7 figures, so it's over $1 million into the fund to help casting of shows.
And they illegally trimmed the trees above where the
that was disgusting. That was just disgusting.
Yeah,
that was Universal.
That was at the Universal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't hear about this
during when people were protesting. So they decided, we were going to trim the trees anyway. They haven't trimmed them in like 8 years. You get rid of all the shade.
Right. And the trees aren't theirs. The trees belong to the city, and they did not have a permit to trim them.
Right. Yeah. They purposely trimmed them to put these people in direct sunlight
during a heat wave.
During a heat wave. Right. Yeah.
That's just yeah.
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 Yep.
Probably what won't happen until everybody cancels Netflix and Amazon and Disney Plus, and that's not going to happen because all the backlog is there. That's what people watch.
Yeah.
Well, us, watching Psych and news radio isn't helping.
I watched DVDs I bought off of eBay. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nice. Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's start pirating. Everybody start pirating everything now.
That's a bad
That's a good directive to put out there online.
I heard about the pilots out there.
All right, we're supposed to start pirating now.
You mean the way Adam watched the first 15 minutes of Barbie?
He walked out of the theater after 15 minutes. He couldn't take it. Oh my goodness. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks. It's such a pleasure to see you once again. And next week, double feature, the Raid 2, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Start News Radio.
Right. Maybe Cats. No. I'm
trying to do an Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Cats from my brain, and Eric keeps bringing it back up.
So you can watch it again. Yeah, that makes sense.
Here it is. Look, everybody, Amazon Prime, episode 1, season 1, the pilot.
Right there.
There it is.
There, 23 minutes per episode.
Not in HD.
No.
It might be HD, but not in. I mean, you can see it's.
Yeah, it's not letter. It's the ratio is definitely TV ratio. Pre-HD TV.
Take it back to the 90s, the way it's supposed to be.
And it's great if you watch it with the Hogan's Heroes theme playing. It's really great.
Oh, that would actually help a lot. Well, if it's 4:3, so on your widescreen TV, you could have an episode of News Radio right next to.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Hogan's Heroes. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, in sync. It's like
Adam's already talking about it.
Yeah. I was only familiar with Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall to that point. I'm not sure what else he might have done.
I think that might be all he had done.
Well, I think that was it.
And then he was Flick.
That's
it. I do like him. He's funny.
Yeah, he is funny.
Interviewed him at some. I don't know if I have the interview anywhere. If it's on YouTube or not. Eric, do you have that in the archives?
Do I have what in the archives?
Me interviewing Dave Foley. I've got the Lewis Black one.
I do not believe I have that.
He should have been a Foley artist.
This job has your name all over it.
There you go.
Wow. And we'll stop there.
Bye, buddy.
All right. We'll see you next week. Good night. Bye.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.